Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping into the incredible opening of Haruki Murakami's Norwegian Wood. We're going to see how just a few pages can build this breathtaking world of memory, loss, and just this deep, deep sense of longing.
So our story kicks off with a pretty simple moment. Imagine this. A 37-year-old guy is on a plane landing in Hamburg, Germany. And over the speakers, an orchestra starts playing a cover of the Beatles' Norwegian Wood. And for him, that song isn't just background music. A memory doesn't just surface, it absolutely explodes.
And this isn't just, a casual, oh, I remember this kind of moment. Nope. The song is a trigger, a powerful, almost physical one. It collapses 18 years in a single instant, yanking him right out of that airplane seat and dropping him into a grassy meadow on a crisp autumn day, way back in 1969.
He is so completely overwhelmed by this that he literally has to press his hands to his head to keep his skull from feeling like it's going to split open. I mean, wow. This intense, totally involuntary trip back in time, it sets this tone of deep melancholy right from the very first page. You know you're in for something serious.
Okay, so here's where things get really fascinating. Murakami shows us this strange paradox about how memory works. As the narrator's thrown back into this meadow, he realizes something's off. The background, the scenery, it's all perfectly clear. But the people who were there, they're just disappearing. He can remember the smell of the grass, the exact feel of the wind, the curve of the hills. But he can't immediately picture the face of Naoko, the girl he was with. It's like the emotional heart of the memory is being scrubbed away, leaving behind this beautifully rendered but totally empty stage. And this, right here, this is the narrator's central struggle. He is actively fighting against the natural, inevitable way that even our most important memories just decay. He pictures it like shadows getting longer at sunset, and he knows that one day they're just going to be swallowed up by the darkness completely. So what does he do? How does he fight back against this forgetting? Well, he has to consciously rebuild her. He pieces her together from these tiny sensory details. It's not passive remembering. It's a deliberate, active fight to reconstruct a person against this unstoppable tide of time. Now, as they're walking through this meadow in his memory, Naoko tells him a story. It's about a mysterious, hidden well somewhere in that field. And this story, it becomes this incredibly powerful and honestly terrifying symbol for the entire novel. She describes this well that might not even be real. It's just this unmarked, dark hole in the ground, completely hidden by the grass. And she says it's crammed full of, and I quote, all the world's darknesses. It's a place where, supposedly, people just vanish. But here's the part that really gives you chills. The true horror isn't just falling in. It's how she describes what happens next. A slow, lonely descent. This well, you see, it's not just a physical hole. It's a symbol for isolation, for depression, for a kind of death that happens slowly, while you are completely and utterly alone. I mean, the idea of this well really forces you to think about all the invisible dangers that are lurking just off the paths we walk every single day. It's such a haunting metaphor for those hidden struggles that can just swallow a person whole, without anyone on the outside ever seeing a thing. Okay, so let's get back to the narrator's actual life back then. His world was completely split into two, just starkly different realities. On one hand, you have this incredibly complex, emotionally heavy connection with Naoko. And on the other, his bizarrely ordinary life at his university dorm. So on one side, you've got his roommate, who he nicknames Stormtrooper. And this guy is obsessed with cleaning, wakes up at the crack of dawn for government radio exercises, and his great passion in life is studying maps. It's this almost darkly funny contrast to all the emotional weight our narrator is carrying around. And then on the other side, you have Naoko. She's struggling so much that she can barely even put her own turmoil into words. She describes feeling this deep split inside herself, like she's playing tag with another version of herself, making any kind of real communication feel totally impossible. This contrast just perfectly shows you the two poles of our narrator's life. He's bouncing between these conversations of profound, almost unspeakable emotional depth with Naoko, and then having arguments with Stormtrooper about whether or not the morning exercises on the radio involve jumping. It's just absurd. So, all of this brings us to the really crucial question, right? Why is the narrator forcing himself to go through all this pain and confusion again? Why write it all down? Well, it all comes back to a promise he made to Naoko on that day in the woods.
As they were walking, Naoko just makes this desperate plea. It's like she can sense that her own existence is fragile, that she might actually fade away if she isn't held tight in someone's memory.
And he gives her his word, a simple, solemn vow, a promise to hold onto her, to keep her memory alive against that darkness that he just knows, is already trying to swallow her whole.
And that's when it all clicks. The act of writing this whole story, we realize, is his attempt to keep that promise. It's his fight against those fading shadows. It's his way of giving Naoko a permanency that his own flawed memory can't guarantee. He's writing so he can remember.
And that's the central, haunting question that this incredible opening leaves us with. It's a question about love, about loss, and really about the very nature of how, and more importantly, why, we choose to remember, even when it hurts so much.